Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gathering here today. It's a pleasure to speak with you on a simple yet transformative principle. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you. At first glance, this might sound like advice to bury your feelings or pretend life is perfect. In reality, it's a mindset that empowers you to rise above life's disruptions, maintain your focus, and project confidence even in the face of adversity. Let me tell you something, life's going to hit you. There's no way around it. You're going to face moments that test your patience, your resolve, your sanity. It might be a person at work who doesn't respect you, a challenge that seems insurmountable, or simply the frustrations of everyday life piling up. It's easy in these moments to feel overwhelmed, to let emotions take over, and to act on impulse. That's what most people do, right? They react, they let the world around them control them. But that's not the path to greatness. If you want to learn how to truly succeed in this life, you need to understand this fundamental truth. Emotional resilience is everything. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore your emotions, to act like they don't exist, or to pretend you're not feeling anything. No, what I'm saying is this: learn to take control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. That's where true power comes from. When you learn emotional resilience, you stop letting every little thing that bothers you derail your day, your mood, or your focus. You stop being at the mercy of external events. You stop allowing a single negative comment, a tough situation, or a setback to determine how you feel or how you react. When something happens that would normally upset most people, you handle it differently. You remain calm. You stay composed. You make a conscious decision not to let it affect you. And that's where your strength lies. Here's the thing. Nobody gets through life unscathed. The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is how they handle life's challenges. The successful ones are the ones who face hardships with composure. They recognize when emotions are starting to rise, and they take a step back. They don't give in to the anger or the frustration. They control their response, no matter how strong the initial feeling is. And believe me, it's not because they don't feel anger or frustration. Of course they do, but they've trained themselves to respond differently. Now I want you to think for a moment about a time when you let your emotions take control. Maybe it was a small argument with someone close to you. Maybe it was a moment when you were feeling overwhelmed with work, or perhaps even when you were upset because things weren't going your way. In that moment, how did it affect you? Did it derail your entire day? Did it affect the way you treated other people? Did it take you off course? For most people, the answer is yes. Emotions, when left unchecked, are like a wildfire, out of control and capable of burning everything in their path. But here's the thing I want you to realize. Emotions are like waves. They come in, they crash, and then they recede. And if you allow them to control your actions, you'll get caught in that current, constantly swept up in the ups and downs. But if you can learn to ride those waves, if you can stay steady, no matter what life throws at you, you'll always be in control. The people around you won't even see your inner turbulence, and you'll be the one who stands strong. You won't be shaken, no matter the storm. So how do you do this? How do you develop emotional resilience? Well, first you need to understand that it's not an overnight process. It's something you need to actively work on every single day. You have to train yourself, just like you would train for a sport or a skill. The more you practice controlling your emotions, the easier it becomes. You'll find yourself becoming less affected by things that used to get to you. The key is to stop letting external events dictate your emotional state. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You are the master of your own response. One of the best ways to start building this resilience is by recognizing when your emotions are starting to rise. Maybe your chest tightens, maybe your hands start to sweat, or maybe you feel that rush of heat in your face. These are all signs that your body is reacting to something. But here's the trick. You don't have to react to that feeling. In fact, the moment you recognize that emotion, you have the power to pause. You can take a deep breath, step back, and decide whether you want to act on that feeling or not. You don't have to be ruled by your emotions. In that moment of pause, you have control. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say someone says something that bothers you. Maybe they criticize you or insult you in some way. Most people in that situation would immediately fire back. They would feel the sting of the words and retaliate, maybe even escalate the situation. But if you've worked on your emotional resilience, you do something different. You pause, you breathe, you realize that their words don't define you. And then instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you calmly address the situation, or maybe you choose not to engage at all. It's all about controlling your response. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings, but it means you don't let them rule you. You feel the emotion, but you don't let it dictate your actions. Instead, you consciously decide how you want to act in that moment. And this, my friends, is where real power lies. Because when you can maintain control over your emotions, you control your entire life. You control your decisions, your outcomes, and the way you navigate the world. Over time, you'll notice something powerful. The things that used to bother you no longer have the same effect. The people who used to push your buttons, the situations that used to stress you out, they lose their power over you. And in their place, you build something stronger, something far more valuable, emotional freedom. And that, in essence, is what emotional resilience is all about. Freedom. The freedom to remain calm, focused, and in control, no matter what's going on around you. The freedom to stay steady in the face of life's challenges. The freedom to choose how you respond, instead of being a slave to your emotions. So let me leave you with this: life is going to throw all kinds of challenges your way. You can either let them knock you down, or you can choose to rise above them. You can either let your emotions control you, or you can learn to control them. The choice is yours. Let's talk about confidence. Now, we've all heard the word thrown around, and most people think of it as just some kind of attitude or exterior display. But confidence is so much deeper than that. It's not about walking into a room with your chest puffed out, pretending to be someone you're not. True confidence is about composure, the ability to remain unshaken, no matter what life throws at you. Here's the thing: confidence isn't a constant feeling. It's not something you're born with. It's a skill you develop, and just like any other skill, it's something you have to work at every day. But the beauty of it is this: when you truly master the art of composure, the exterior confidence will follow. It's not about faking it until you make it. It's about learning to stay calm and steady in every situation, no matter how much chaos surrounds you. Let me ask you, have you ever watched someone in a high-pressure situation, maybe a top athlete in the final moments of a game, or a leader in a crisis situation? You notice something, don't you? They never panic. They don't let the pressure overwhelm them. They may feel the same nerves, the same stress, the same anxiety as anyone else, but the difference is they don't let those emotions show. They don't let those emotions control them. Instead, they stand tall, they remain focused, and they make clear, deliberate decisions. They exude composure, and that composure is what gives them true confidence. Now, this is where we get to the core of it. Composure is the foundation of real confidence. It's the ability to control your reactions, to not let outside events or people determine how you feel or behave. And I'm telling you right now, this is something you can train. Every day, you have the opportunity to practice composure. It starts with recognizing your emotional state and choosing to act with calm, even when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. Think about it. How many times have you been in a situation where you could feel the pressure building up? Whether it's in a difficult conversation, an unexpected challenge, or just a moment when things weren't going your way. It's easy in those moments to lose your head, to snap, or to let frustration take over. But when you master composure, you do the exact opposite. You stop, you breathe, and you choose to remain steady. This is the real secret to confidence. It's not about being fearless or acting like everything's fine. It's about being able to stand firm, no matter the storm that's raging around you. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that every time you're in a stressful situation, you'll automatically stay calm. But here's the thing: the more you practice, the more you condition yourself to stay calm, the easier it becomes. Think of it like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the more composure you develop, the more confident you become. That's how it works. The exterior confidence will come naturally when you've mastered the internal composure. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that confidence comes from outside of themselves. They think it comes from looking a certain way, having the right job, or being in the right relationship. But let me tell you, real confidence comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are, being grounded in your own values, and never allowing external circumstances to shake you. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. Let's look at another example. Think about a leader, someone who commands respect without even having to ask for it. What is it about them that makes people follow them? It's not just their knowledge or skills. It's their ability to remain composed under pressure. It's the way they carry themselves, the way they speak, and how they deal with setbacks or obstacles. People don't follow someone who panics. They follow someone who stays calm, makes clear decisions, and handles difficult situations with grace. So let's take this into your own life. You can be that person. You can be the person who walks into a room and everyone feels a sense of calm because they know you are in control. You can be the person who stays steady when everyone else is freaking out. And the way you do that is by practicing composure in your everyday life. It's about responding, not reacting. One of the best ways to practice composure is to deliberately place yourself in situations that challenge your ability to stay calm. Look for opportunities to practice. Maybe it's a difficult conversation with a friend or family member. Maybe it's a moment when you're under pressure at work. Or maybe it's simply dealing with everyday frustrations, traffic, a long line at the store, someone cutting in front of you. Instead of reacting immediately, take a breath, step back, evaluate the situation, and decide how you want to respond. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that nothing rattles you. You'll be able to handle the toughest situations with a steady hand and a calm mind. Now let's talk about how this relates to others. You see, composure doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you are calm in the midst of chaos, you become a source of stability for others. People look to you for leadership, for direction, for reassurance. They will trust you because they can see that you are in control of yourself. That kind of presence is magnetic. People want to be around someone who can handle pressure and who can make decisions without getting flustered. So when you master composure, you don't just build your own confidence, you build the confidence of everyone around you. And here's the kicker: when you stay composed, you become more effective. Think about it. When you're calm, you can think clearly. You're not making decisions based on emotions. You're making decisions based on logic, strategy, and clarity. That's how winners think. They stay calm under pressure, and they make the best possible choices because their mind is clear and focused. So what does this all come down to? It comes down to practice. Composure is something you can develop every single day. It's not about faking confidence. It's about building the internal strength to stay calm and controlled, no matter what's going on around you. When you do that, confidence follows naturally. People will see it in your actions, your demeanor, and your ability to handle whatever comes your way. The more you practice, the more you strengthen that muscle of composure. And that, my friends, is where true confidence comes from. The world won't always be easy, and things won't always go your way. But if you can remain composed in the face of it all, you'll find that nothing can really shake you. Now let's talk about something that affects everyone, whether they like to admit it or not: reactivity. In life, it's so easy to get caught up in the cycle of reaction. You're driving, someone cuts you off, and suddenly you're angry. You get an email that frustrates you, and before you know it, you're firing off a response in anger. Your boss gives you a piece of constructive criticism, and instead of listening, you immediately start defending yourself. It's all too easy to just react. But here's the thing: reactions are automatic. They're instinctual. And if you live your life constantly reacting, you're not in control of your life. You're at the mercy of everything and everyone around you. So what I'm going to tell you today is this: stop reacting, start responding. There's a massive difference, and understanding that difference is key to taking control of your life. Now think about it for a second. When you react, you're not really thinking about the situation at hand. You're simply allowing your emotions to take over, and your actions are dictated by those emotions. You're like a puppet, and the strings are being pulled by everything happening around you. When someone cuts you off on the road, your immediate reaction might be to get angry, raise your fist, or yell at them. But the truth is, that reaction doesn't help anything. It doesn't make your day better, and it certainly doesn't fix the situation. All it does is give you a burst of negative energy, and you carry that with you. But let me ask you this: what if you could change that? What if instead of reacting, you chose to respond with a sense of calm, clarity, and control? What if instead of letting that small annoying moment ruin your day, you simply acknowledged the situation, took a breath, and chose to move on? That's the power of stopping reactivity in its tracks. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy. Far from it. I know it's hard, especially when you're used to being in a constant state of reaction. But that's exactly why you need to practice. You need to condition yourself to be aware of your emotional triggers and to take control of your responses. That means, in every situation, instead of letting your emotions lead the way, you take a step back and choose how you want to act. Let's break this down. Imagine you're in a meeting at work. You've got a point to make, but someone else interrupts you, cuts you off, and takes the floor. Most people in that moment would feel insulted. their immediate reaction would be to snap back, to get frustrated, or to defend themselves in some way. But when you stop and think for a moment, you realize that reacting with anger or frustration won't get you anywhere. In fact, it might make the situation worse. Instead, you take a breath, you stay calm, and you choose to respond with confidence and composure. You might say something like, "I'd like to finish my point," and you continue the conversation with a steady voice and a clear mind. In that moment, you've taken control. You've turned a potentially negative situation into one that highlights your strength and your ability to stay focused. Now here's the thing. This doesn't mean you're suppressing your feelings or bottling them up. I'm not telling you to pretend you're not frustrated or upset. I'm telling you to acknowledge that feeling, understand where it's coming from, and then choose how you want to respond to it. It's not about denying your emotions. It's about giving yourself the space to make a conscious choice about how you act. And when you start doing that, you'll notice something remarkable. You'll stop being controlled by outside forces, and you'll start to regain control over your own life. The key to this is the pause. Every time something happens that could trigger a reaction, you pause. You take a deep breath, and in that moment, you take control of the situation. You don't let the external event dictate how you feel. You choose how you feel. You choose whether to react or to respond. And that's where your power lies. Think about the times when you've allowed yourself to react impulsively. Have they ever turned out the way you wanted? Probably not. In fact, most of the time, those reactions just lead to more frustration, more conflict, and more problems. Reacting impulsively leads to poor decisions, and poor decisions lead to negative outcomes. That's why responding, instead of reacting, is the only way to break free from this cycle. So how do you start this process? It begins with awareness. The first step is recognizing when you're in a situation that triggers your emotions. Maybe it's someone insulting you. Maybe it's a stressful work situation. Or maybe it's something as simple as someone cutting you off in traffic. You need to be aware of your emotional state and recognize when it's rising. But awareness alone isn't enough. Once you're aware, you need to take that moment to pause. That pause is everything. It's the space between the stimulus, the thing that's happened, and your response to it. And in that space, you can make a conscious choice about how you want to react. Now let's go a step further. What happens when you practice this enough? What happens when you consistently choose to respond rather than react? You build resilience. You build mental toughness. You start to realize that nothing in life can truly shake you. Situations that used to get under your skin no longer have that power. People who used to frustrate you no longer get a rise out of you. And you start to make better decisions because you're no longer driven by emotion. You're driven by logic, by clarity, and by control. But this takes time, and it takes effort. No one is born with the ability to pause and choose their response automatically. It's a skill, and like any skill, it needs to be practiced. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes, and the more natural it feels. So next time you find yourself in a situation that could trigger a reaction, whether it's a challenging conversation, a stressful moment, or a frustrating setback, remember you don't have to react. You can pause, take a breath, and choose to respond with calm and clarity. And in that choice, you'll find the power to take control of your life and your emotions. You won't just be living at the mercy of the world around you. You'll be the one in charge. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that separates those who thrive from those who struggle: mindset. Now I know you've heard the phrase, mindset is everything, but let's really dig into what that means. Your mindset is the lens through which you view the world, and it dictates how you approach every situation in life. It influences how you react to challenges, how you cope with setbacks, and ultimately how successful you are. The difference between people who make things happen and people who sit back and let life happen is the mindset they have. Now let me be clear. Life is not always going to be easy. In fact, it's rarely easy. There will be times when it feels like everything is stacked against you. You'll face obstacles, you'll get knocked down, and you'll encounter setbacks. But here's where your mindset comes into play. How you view those challenges is what determines whether you overcome them or get stuck in them. People with a strong positive mindset view obstacles as opportunities for growth. They don't see failures as reasons to quit. They see them as lessons that bring them closer to success. Think about it. Every great achiever, from business leaders to athletes to inventors, faced failure, but they didn't let those failures stop them. Instead, they used each setback as fuel to move forward. The difference is simple. They had a growth mindset. They knew that the path to success was not linear. They understood that there would be bumps along the way, but they refused to be discouraged by them. Let's be real. The world is full of challenges. You're going to face things that seem impossible, moments when you feel like giving up. But this is the moment that defines you. The moment when everything seems to be going wrong is the moment you need to dig deeper. It's easy to be positive when things are going well, but true strength comes from maintaining a positive mindset, even when everything is falling apart. When you can look at a situation and still believe that you can overcome it. That's the mindset that leads to victory. A lot of people have what's called a fixed mindset. This is the type of mindset that believes abilities and intelligence are static. When people with a fixed mindset face challenges, they either shy away from them or become discouraged when they don't succeed right away. They think, I'm just not good at this, or this is too hard for me. They let challenges define their abilities. But here's the thing, you have the power to reshape your mindset. You can choose to develop what's called a growth mindset, which is the belief that your abilities can be developed through hard work, dedication, and learning from your failures. When you adopt a growth mindset, you stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities. You begin to understand that you don't have to be perfect right out of the gate. You don't have to have it all figured out from day one. What matters is your willingness to keep learning, to keep improving, and to keep moving forward. And that right there is the secret to success. Progress over perfection. It's about knowing that every step you take, even the small ones, is getting you closer to where you want to be. One of the most powerful things you can do is start changing the way you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue has a massive impact on your mindset. When things get tough, what are you telling yourself? Are you saying I can't do this? Or are you saying this is hard, but I will figure it out? The words you speak to yourself shape your belief system. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you can't do something, or that the odds are against you, that becomes your reality. But when you shift your self-talk to be more positive, more encouraging, and more solution-oriented, you'll start to believe that success is possible. And when you believe that, you'll find a way to make it happen. This doesn't mean ignoring the realities of the situation, or pretending that everything is always going to be easy. Life isn't easy, and there will be tough times. But with the right mindset, you'll see those tough times as temporary obstacles to overcome, not as permanent roadblocks. Instead of feeling defeated, you'll feel motivated to find a way through. You'll focus on solutions rather than problems. And that's the mindset that will push you forward. Let's talk about failure for a second. Because failure is something everyone experiences, no matter who you are or what you're trying to achieve. The difference is how you respond to it. People with a growth mindset don't fear failure. They embrace it as part of the learning process. The world's most successful people have all failed, but they didn't let it define them. They didn't give up. Instead, they looked at what went wrong, learned from it, and then tried again, smarter and stronger than before. That's how you build resilience. And that's how you build success. Failure isn't the end. It's just a stepping stone on the path to greatness. But here's the thing about mindset. It's contagious. When you adopt a strong positive mindset, it doesn't just affect you, it affects the people around you. People are drawn to energy. When you carry a mindset that exudes confidence, determination, and a belief in growth, others will start to believe in you too. You'll inspire them to take action and to develop that same mindset in their own lives. So by working on your mindset, you're not just helping yourself, you're creating a ripple effect that can change the lives of the people around you as well. Let's go deeper into this. You're going to face plenty of adversity. That's inevitable. But the truth is, adversity is where the real growth happens. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when things are difficult, when you're pushed to your limits, and when you face challenges that force you to dig deeper into yourself. It's in those moments that you either break or you rise. But if you have the right mindset, you'll rise. One way to reinforce this mindset is by setting clear goals. When you have something to strive for, it gives you purpose. It helps you focus on what's important and reminds you why you're pushing through the tough times. The more you work toward those goals with determination, the more your mindset shifts. You start to see challenges as steps along the way, not as roadblocks. Every setback is an opportunity to improve. Every failure is a lesson learned. And every success is a confirmation that your mindset is paying off. Your mindset shapes your reality. If you believe that you can overcome anything, you will. If you believe that setbacks are just part of the journey, you'll never be deterred. And if you believe that the world is full of opportunities for growth, you'll find them everywhere you look. It's all in how you choose to view the world. So as you move forward in life, I want you to remember this. Your mindset is your most powerful tool. It will determine your success, your happiness, and your ability to overcome whatever challenges come your way. You have the power to shape your mindset. And by doing so, you have the power to shape your future.